This is MITV. I advise you not to touch the dial. We're going to serve you breakfast hot, hot, hot. This morning I have with me Theresa. Good morning, Theresa.
Good morning, Tom. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
It's going to be a hot package, right? We have
yes.
hot things to discuss. And we have the Balogun.
My name is Theresa Adeyemi. Welcome to the Bumper Breakfast.
The cameras are not yet on you, so why are you laughing?
You guys are not looking at me like that. Good morning, everybody. My name is Ambassador Robin Emmanuel Oluwafemi. It's good to be here this week again. I'm not here on Monday, Tuesday. I'm here today, tomorrow, on Friday. I'm going to show the whole world Pepe because I'm seeing Pepe. Only God knows what has happened to me too. This morning, last month, but I'm surviving anyway. Just sit down and relax. Let's enjoy the program together.
Well, I don't know what's going on. We're all putting on black, but we're happy. It's a happy Wednesday morning. There's nothing attached to this black.
Yes,
and I remember when Theresa came in this morning, she said, "Oh, why is everybody wearing black? Should I go change my dress?" I said, "It's coincidental,
It was not planned.
It was not planned. We're not mourning anybody, and we will not mourn anybody. We're happy all the way on the breakfast show this morning." All right, so there's so much happening in the news. Let's look at the news headlines this morning. Trending issues. We have DSS arrested Mitv after tussles with prison officials. I mean, we saw it on social media. We're seeing it on the front pages of the newspaper.
And I can see
it is everywhere.
Between the DSS operatives
and
the NCO's officers
yes.
over custody of the suspended governor of Central Bank of Nigeria.
You know, some people are actually...
Emefiele is now expensive.
He's a hot cake.
He's now expensive.
He's a celebrity. You know, he's a celeb. You know, someone said, probably there's some money he gives to them. I said, how are we wired? How are we wired?
Red on red. red on red.
I don't understand what would make anybody think like that. A man is in this condition and he's thinking whether he's going to come out of prison. The first thing you're thinking about is that he still has money, he still has cash available with him, you know, in the prison to be able to bribe people. I mean, I said to the person, I said, I don't know how you're thinking, but I'm not wired like this.
This whole saga, I realized some things. Like, I never knew the SCB governor was that small. And I never knew he believed in God so much that he was holding on to his KJ. Why are you laughing? But no, now I'm just telling you the observation.
She's
forgive Teresa. He raised all our sins.
But she knows not what she's doing.
Serious.
It's her observation, really.
Serious.
So let's hear her.
No insult.
Like, and I suppose that to run to God in times of trouble.
And I saw him. If I wasn't holding it, it was palming it.
In no situation,
of the Bible.
He clutched it.
Jalamia, and I was like,
but it was not like that on that video.
I saw the first clerk holding him, dragging like, let's go. Like,
just to help Baba. Everything later is Baba.
Nigeria will humble you.
He just
exactly. That's where I was
telling you. Nigeria will humble you. If Nigeria happened to you
during that cash scarcity, where it say, those of you that want to support him, if you want to fight me, come outside, let's fight. Baba was not holding Bible that year.
You see, God is a patient God. I'm telling you. I was surprised when I saw him. And I was like, when I saw the video, I was like, who's this? Okay, because of the
shape of his head.
It was wearing jalabia.
Well, why did you say that? I was trying to dodge that, but I wanted to say something.
No, because but that's true. That's the way I identify.
And I was like, what's wrong with this? What's wrong with this? Rio, Chris just laughed.
Rio, why are you doing this?
That's the way I identify.
I mean, you see, that it just tells you how poisonous your mind is. Because there's absolutely is there anything wrong in saying that you identify a person by a part of that person's own body? I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong in that.
I get it.
I mean, it wasn't said, you know.
What is the problem between the DSS and the NCOs?
Exactly.
You see,
what really went down? Why are they dragging him?
Okay.
Why are they fighting for him?
Well, perhaps there may be some very sensitive things that they need to protect. What do you think?
Okay, you know, DSS is a place where it's so difficult for anybody to assess any suspect whenever you are in the custody of the DSS. But when you're in the custody at the correctional centers, especially when you are a VIP, when you're somebody who they really need to protect, I can tell you for a fact that the way criminals and insurgency attack Kuje prison in Abuja, you cannot attack the DSS custody that way. You understand? The CBN governor or former CBN governor, suspected CBN governor, has the allegation that he was financing insurgency. So we don't know if it's true or wrong. The court have not yet proved it, right? So if they should keep him at Ikoyi is a place where you even have some top Nigerian men, living there.
And if VIP treatment
it now happens to be true that he was really sponsoring insurgency, they might want to come after him. Is that they want to come after his life in person, knowing for the fact that there are some secrets that he might want to leak, or they want to come and rescue him, or they just want to come and cause problems. But however, I'm still not in support that the DSS acted in that manner.
Especially,
it was a show of
especially,
shame.
don't you think that the judge put all of what you're saying into consideration before that pronouncement was made, that judgment was given? And then this is what we're saying about, the judiciary system in this country. It is not respected by, I have absolutely no apologies, because if the judge had ruled on that, and then this was happening outside, then there is a problem.
But despite the bail, he was still rearrested by DSS.
Yes.
That is like the second time they are rearresting him now. So I just want to quickly react on what Tone said. Yes, the judge would have, or the judge might have thought about it too. But I can tell you for a fact that when it comes to security-wise, the judge don't know more than the security personnel. When it comes to the judiciary system, the security personnel don't know more than the judge itself. But however, there is something called rule of law. In any country where rule of law is not respected, that means anybody can do anyhow. And I'll tell you for a fact that this same thing happened a lot of time during the tenure of the former immediate president, Muhammadu Buhari. Past president. A lot of time, they will ask them to do something order from court, and they won't do it. They won't do this. But yesterday was, DSS could have just allowed
like former EFCC chairman.
Yeah, DSS could have just allowed, the correctional officials to take him, maybe be security with them, or go there and stay with them. Then you can now appeal for that judgment and say no, he has to be here because of this and that and that. Imagine Nnamdi Kalu was at correctional centers. Anything could have actually happened.
So I do agree with what Rio said. I think there could have been a more decent arrangement, such that the judge's decision would be respected, and then, some sort of arrangement made for proper security to keep him in there and keep him safe away from, external influences or forces. So we'll take the video clips and see what happened, yesterday.
See him, you can see the KJV.
Don't go down now. Please make it. Don't go down now.
And that's it, Theresa and Rio. The tables can turn at any time.
Honestly.
We always must be careful the things that we do, the things that we say, and the way we act and react to people, treat people around us. It's very important, because you never can tell. You just may be the next victim. It's a bumper breakfast show. Let's look at the next, something else that is trending. And so Senate calls on the federal government to halt the proposed increase in electricity tariffs by the 11 distribution companies in the country. 11 distribution, companies. So these are the discos. Recently the federal government was planning, alongside the discourse to increase the electricity tariffs. But question we're asking, is this coming at the right time? When there's so much chaos, the country is not really settled, the economy is not settled, everybody knows what's going on. Fuel subsidy has been removed, no salary increase, and then you're talking of increasing the tariffs for electricity. All of that, I'm sure these are the things that were put into consideration in the Senate before this was
I would like to say this, like a Yoruba person would say, "Arai larai shokoto olopa." We have a lot on shokoto onipa.
Can you please interpret? Because not everybody.
At all.
Nine bad pass.
So that's it. That's just the meaning of that. At all, nine bad pass. This is a welcoming development.
Certainly.
Because I listened to the Senate speak, and I know we're still going to show the clips. It said the Nigerians will not survive this again because this is hard time for Nigerians. Nigerians are not trekking. I saw a picture of Computer Village, people trekking in Computer Village yesterday, and I opened my mouth. I just saw it yesterday. Like, people are really trekking. They are not joking. People, they ain't joking. They are trekking. I don't wonder where are they coming from. Because if you're coming from my own house, as in where I live, to office, you cannot trek. It's not trekkable. You can't reach here before you faint. It's just going to look like the tsunami that happened while I was in Offa Polytechnic year 2000. That we started running. We ran from Offa to Erinle that year. So I was just wondering, trekking, people are really, really trekking. So if the Senate can stand up to defend the citizens, is a welcoming idea for me. Because this is not what we need. Hike in electricity tariff, hike in fuel, hike in foodstuff, hike in house rent. Do you know landlords are increasing their house rent now?
Everything.
They are telling you to save only.
Everything is on the increase.
Powerhouse in it.
Everything is on the increase. They will tell you that for them to maintain the house, they have to go out and buy stuff, and those things are now expensive. So
even shop owners.
So it's coming down on you who has not had an increase in your salary. I mean, I don't understand how it works because it's just a ripple effect that this fuel subsidy thing is happening, and the 8,000 palliatives now. I understand that is going to be redirected to some other area. Well, let's see how it goes. Rio.
Yeah, I was just quickly going to react to that tariff increment and tariff hike. Yeah. I think somebody from Ogun State, a federal representative representing Abeokuta South federal constituency, raised that matter, and I was so glad when they raised it because this is it. At this point is a point where a lot of government parastatals or agencies, departments, private sector would want to increase whatever thing they are giving to the consumer, because by the time all these sagas will end, they cannot come out to say, I want to increase again. The problems would have been already solved. So at this time, everybody will want to say, let's increase this. But as long as it has to do with something the federal government even promised Nigeria during their political campaign and rally, it's something they should look in quickly to read. Because sometimes I can tell you for a fact that they will increase that tariff, sometimes we don't know about it.
Yes.
You will just notice that you recharged and I did not own anything, I was not around. A lot of times they've done it. Yeah. So they are even playing us wayo in that place. So coming out to say I want to increase tariff, it's just like they want to eat you twice. It's just like they want to dupe you twice. You have done it before, we were not aware. Now you want to do it again. So it's a good, like Tessie said, it's a welcome idea that the government are standing for the people. The reason why we voted for the lawmakers, the senators, and the honorables,
because we want them to represent us.
To represent us and speak for us.
Speak for us, yes.
We cannot talk to the president directly, but you can talk to the extent that you have the constitutional right to even override the president. I mean, when it comes to some sensitive matters, but not like the fuel has increased or everything, like landlord.
Even shop landlord.
Everybody.
I don't know.
And when decisions
let Nigerians breathe.
So when decisions like this, are taken, like you said, it's a welcome idea, because the truth is, right now, Nigerians are sitting on a keg of gunpowder. We're just waiting to explode. So this was a step in the right direction, if you ask me. And I'm sure it will help calm a lot of nerves right now. So I kudos to the Senate, and please keep representing the people of Nigeria, up there and out there.
There is a video clip for this. I think
there is a video clip. We should take that video clip now.
This video.
Thank you, Mr. President, once again. Distinguished colleagues, it is important to note that the removal of fuel subsidy has adversely affected the general prices of goods and services within the economy, with a very high rate of pass-through inflation. Electricity is one of the primary factors of production. An increase in electricity tariffs, as currently proposed, will increase the problem of the inflation and compound Nigeria's inflation crisis. While the pros and cons of subsidizing consumption can be debated every day, the benefits of subsidizing production is inherent. Vast multiplier effects in the local economy. I would like to back the motion, which was co-sponsored by myself and aptly read by Senator Yunus Akintunde, by calling on the federal government to intervene as a matter of urgency to halt this proposed increase in tariffs. Thank you.
The Senate is further concerned that the proposed increase will significantly impact the affordability of electricity for the average Nigerians, further exacerbating the financial burden faced by our households and businesses. That less than 1 week time frame window provided by National Electricity Regulatory Commission for comments from all relevant stakeholders is too small for any meaningful engagement. The Senate is further concerned that high electricity tariff will impede industrial growth, job creation, and overall economic development. This will have adverse effects on the nation's drive towards sustainable development and poverty reduction. The Senate is further concerned that the proposed
Let Nigeria breathe. That's what we're saying. And thank you to the Senate for coming up with that wonderful breather for Nigerians. Please continue to help Nigerians, alleviate the suffering that they're going through. This is the Bumper Breakfast Show. We'll take a break and we'll be right back. Please stay tuned. Welcome back to the Bumper Breakfast Show on MITV. It's time for us to look into the newspapers to see what the headlines are. this morning. I'll start with the Nation newspaper. Ministers, Tinubu mauls SAN, ex-governors, technocrats, and others. Senate leader, president's list ready tomorrow.
It's been postponed again. I thought it was coming out yesterday.
Well, and someone said today.
And someone said today again.
And now it's postponed till tomorrow.
Till tomorrow.
Emefiele re-arrested in court after inter-agency brawl. You know, that one was it's what we discussed, and that was quite sad. I wish we could see a picture of, you know, all the papers carried the front that picture. That was quite embarrassing. You know, very embarrassing. Article PDP confused. President tells tribunal. NERC discos fine-tuned tariff hike plan. Federal government will redirect 800 million palliatives cash. ASU loses bid to stop Konwa's registration. Finally, cash surge into economy forces interest rate hike. Federal government has raised 500 million for food sufficiency, says Shettima. That's it on the Nation newspaper this morning. Let's see what the Guardian says.
On the Guardian newspaper this morning, CBN on new route to inflation control raises interest on banks' deposits. DSS clashes with NCO's rearrest Emefiele despite bail. And on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, we have a picture story showing the brawl between DSS operatives and NCO's officers over custody of the suspended governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, after his trial at Ikoyi High Court, Lagos, yesterday. We also have a picture showing the former CBN governor carrying his KJV version of the Bible. And we also have a picture. Oh, Rio, stop laughing now.
Why are you emphasizing it?
Well, you can emphasize other stories. You can't emphasize this picture story.
But what
is there anything in your mind? Is there anything on your mind?
Is this in the headlines? Yes.
Every to ask her, how can you be expressing a picture passionately like that? Anyways, let him stay close to his goal.
Let me breathe. Let me breathe. Okay. Moving on, we also have another picture of the former governor being held by the court clerk, taking him inside the court. And still moving on, 15,000 IVF babies delivered in 130 Nigerian clinic since 1989. So IVF has been happening since 1989 in Nigeria.
Oh yes.
I thought it's something new to the country.
No, actually. No, it's not. But it's perfected.
It's for the wealthy people, right? Since that time.
Yes, for the wealthy people then.
It's perfected now. I think that's the point that they're trying to draw. Because before it didn't used to be as successful as it is now. So that's why they're giving us the figures.
So I know most people go abroad then to do IVF.
Yes.
Those days, but now it's being done here in Nigeria. And they're recording success.
Yeah.
Fruit ripening with chemicals partly responsible for untimely death. NAFDAC warns. Shame we no eat fruit again.
You know, we've had this conversation before.
We had it on the Conquer Breakfast show. I mean, it's just better to be careful.
That means the situation is getting worse. For them to come out to talk about it again, that means there's a problem somewhere.
Senate defers ministerial list till Thursday, urges discourse to allow Nigerians to breathe. Those are the stories that made it to the front page of the Guardian newspaper this morning.
All right, the story that made it to the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, the banner headline, CBN raises interest rate to 18.75%. Emefiele knocks for DSS prison officials over scuffle for custody. Judge grant 20 million naira bail. DSS rearrest him. Falana, Oguye, Ezekwesili, Shore, others rehabs. Flooding, oil and dam begin closely monitored, says NEMA. Extortion increasing along Lagos Port Access Road. NPA raises alarm. Protest in Iraq Polytechnic over removal of rector. Angry senators push Oshiomhole to apologize over looting allegation. Urges proposed electricity hike. Senate tells federal government frown on estimated bill. ASU loses as court affair. Konuna Namdal as trade union. I have no grudges against Olubadan, says Ladoja. Those are the stories that made it to the front page of the Nigerian Tribune this morning.
Using Tessie's words, the lucky stories that made it into the Punch newspaper this morning. Nigerians demand for reforms as Tinubu submits ministerial lists. And the riders are technocrats said to dominate list. Tinubu sought prayers to make the right choice. Senate leader. NBA tasks appointees on security. APC elders fume over Jonathan's move to pick Bayelsa candidate. Emefiele. Lawyers condemn DSS warders clash as family protests re-arrest. Above the nameplate, CBN vows to tackle forex pressure, raises lending rates. Well, I hope that will do us some good if they're raising the lending rates. Or is it going to do us some bad?
Honestly, a lot of time when policies are coming out from the CBN, I can't even see.
I'm even so scared. I don't think
it's a good one. Don't shoot my head. It's a good one. But I just have to shoot my head.
But would I have even asked that question if I knew whether it was good or bad? I would have asked. I'm confused.
I say everybody do a live video of yourself and send it to CBN page. They can do that.
I'm telling you.
You can access our social media handles.
I'm
totally confused.
Social media, any policy that come out or any news, you now see Nigeria will go under that particular post and comment. This CBN rate will favor me and my family. Anything that happens,
you really cannot tell.
The arrest of Emefiele will favor me and my family in Jesus' name.
I mean, every single thing that comes out of CBN scares me.
Actually, right.
Until we start to feel the effect, whether it is positive or negative. That's when I can calm down if it is positive. It's horrible.
Whatever CBN, whatever they are doing, whatever policy they are bringing out, amen. That's not who we are going. Whatever they are doing, whatever the new governor is doing, it should remember the ex-governor.
Remember the Bible carrying.
How he's holding his KJV version of the Bible.
What's the problem with KJV?
No,
I don't understand. What's the Bible version?
But I get.
What's the Bible version? KJV. No wonder.
I get Tessie's point. Because we never saw him. The table can tell. We never saw a man like Emefiele carrying the Bible so passionately. It is a passionate way in which he's carrying the Bible. I've never seen him do that.
At the start of the show, you said when Emefiele was, I don't know, the statement it was releasing out, he said, you can come and fight me.
Yes.
But then he doesn't know do the Bible.
He doesn't know the Bible.
God is a good God.
God is a good God.
There's a way that human beings get humbled beyond their imagination.
Maybe his pastor told him to carry Bible because God is the greatest protector.
You see, we Nigerians, I'm telling you, it's when we start seeing shaking. That's when we know that the Bible and the Quran works. Trust me.
And you know that's what
a Muslim. He would have carried the Quran
before.
Yes.
Before carried the KJV version.
And that's why sometimes God intentionally allows us to go through certain situations and circumstances beyond our control, so that we can be humble and remember that He is God.
Someone said when we were discussing in the newsroom yesterday with some senior news colleagues, and I was asking them that, why did they have to rearrest him? And someone said, if federal government should hold you, Emefiele is going for 3 years. They will keep rearresting him and arresting him and arresting him.
This case is not
and
the first
Nigerians
case.
should know. Yes, that's what the person said. That's what the senior colleague said. And Nigerians should know that this possession of illegal firearms, that's not the only reason, that's not the only case they are going to have with Tinubu. Is gradually. They said the steps will be coming up gradually. Cases will be coming up gradually. It's a gradual thing. After he's done with fire possession,
another thing.
They're still suing him for another thing. I was like, so it's not as if they're going to put everything together. They said, it will be going from court to court, from court to court, from court to court for 3 years.
Imagine what happened to Dasuki.
Yes.
The former security advisor under Buhari. A lot of let's not start fighting that place.
This goes to return $1.2 billion for 374 projects, says NDPHC. Threats to Kogi, Bayelsa, Imo polls disturbing. INEC. Emefiele. Oh, I already took that one.
Yes,
Resident doctors begin indefinite strike today. I remember yesterday we talked about them having some talks. I'm sure they didn't come to any agreement.
What's the story?
The resident doctors are beginning an indefinite strike today.
Yes.
No, because we talked about it yesterday briefly.
And if they're starting the strike today, that means there was never an agreement.
There was never an agreement because they couldn't come to a conclusion.
There could be talk,
a favorable conclusion. So that's why they probably started the strike. And without resident doctors, it's a big one.
Actually,
because there's a sizable number of resident doctors. So is it the house officers that are going to be doing the job of the consultants? Because that's the gap. That's the in between the resident doctors and there's like I said, they're a sizable number. So if they go on strike, then there's a problem.
We don't fall ill this season because when you get to the hospital, there's going to tell you there's no doctor.
There's no doctor because if the resident doctors are not there, then the house officers how do they work without the supervision of the resident doctors?
Doctors and lecturers, a lot of them still have jobs in private organization, but it's fine.
But we should learn to focus on certain sectors of great importance, because we're not. This health is everything. If you're not alive, we won't be sitting here talking. If one is ill, you need to go to hospitals, and then you would understand what I'm talking about. Lagos Okada riders accuse policemen of extortion. It's not today now.
That news is still. They should find lasting solution to that. That one will never stop.
Well, let's hope. With the police, performing wonders these days at the national and the state levels. We have some good officers now.
We always do.
We have some very good officers, and they kind of seem to be focused. Let's hope that they would.
Did you see the video of a police officer dancing on social media? He was dancing, and the POV was like, the day the government will start paying us 300,000 and we won't collect any bribe again, and he started dancing. So they have to pay them 300,000 before they stop accepting bribes.
Can you imagine?
Honestly.
No, but honestly, we're not saying that what they're doing is right. I condemn it with every fiber in my soul. But all the same, they also need to be, attended to be attended to.
Okay.
To be attended to, because honestly, what they earn is really nothing compared to the amount of work that they put into their job. Adamu Omishore met Tinubu for reconciliation, APC chieftains. These are the lucky stories that made it into the Punch newspaper this morning. You're still on the Bumper Breakfast Show this morning. We'll take a break and we'll come back. Don't touch the dial.
Lagos Business 2023 with Edale. In the news, operatives of the Department of State Services on Tuesday rearrested suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, after a tussle with officials of the Nigerian Correctional Service. Senator representing Edo North Senatorial District Adams Oshomole has tendered a public apology to his colleagues and members of the Ninth Senate over a TV interview that may have misrepresented members of the Ninth Senate of allegedly looting their offices at the end of their tenure. The senators called on the federal government to halt the proposed increase in electricity tariff by 11 distribution companies in the country. House of Representatives ad hoc committee investigating job racketeering and gross mismanagement of integrated payroll and personal information system (IPPIS) has instructed Chairman of the Federal Character Commission, Mohiba Dankaka, to unfailingly appeal before it on Wednesday. The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Mahmoud Yakubu, and national commissioners of the Electoral Umpire met with leaders of political parties at the commission's headquarters in Abuja. The Central Bank of Nigeria has raised the monetary policy rate, which measures interest rate from 18.5% to 18 to 7.5%. China Foreign Minister Peng Yang was removed from office, state media reported, after not being seen in public eye for a month. And sport, Chelsea have rejected a bid from West Ham from England midfielder Conor Gallagher worth a reported £40 million. Lagos Business 2023 with Edale Kingsley had Nigerian business owners as key speakers. The theme of the 2023 Tolle is surviving the economic mess. Looking at the recent hike in food prices, fuel, hike in electricity, and many more, Lagos business owners have a lot to say.
I think power is major in creating or producing. So because we know we use a lot of power to electricity to power our machines, and then the cost of running generators, the cost of power is extremely high. So if the government is able to work, bring power and then make it as affordable as possible, it's going to help us, in producing more and generating more revenue. Private sector has been resilient. I think every business at this point knows that the economy is terrible. And then, in order to survive, we need to, beef up our thick skin. So we've been able to bring out some strategies like reducing our human capital, like I said earlier, reducing human capital, and working with contract staff more. When we have bulk jobs to do, we call them in to work with them, and then when they are done, they can leave at their own time.
In terms of the policies that government has put in place that that has helped. I would like to speak about there used to be a fund, there used to be a loan, an SME loan that GT Bank was offering. I think it was actually being funded by the Central Bank of Nigeria. At the time, I think sometime in 2019, 2020, we took advantage of that facility and were able to get loans of about 9%, which we completed the payment. But subsequently, that loan, that facility was no longer available. It would be very helpful if CBN or the government can kind of like bring this policy or bring this make this kind of loans facilities available to entrepreneurs like myself. But now that that facility is no longer available, we've had to look at other sources which are actually much more expensive for us. So if government can bring that back, that will be fantastic.
We're a technology-based business. We're a technology-enabled business. So a lot of the things that we do run on technology. So government is not helping us in that regard. We're literally like helping ourselves and creating everything we do from head to reality, and we leverage technology. So there's not much that government can do about that. But we'll be really happy to be able to afford power, to be able to afford manpower. Because let's face it, manpower is not expensive. If you were paying your staff maybe an average of 200K, for instance, you have to factor in the fact that most of that money is going to go into commuting. It means that cost of manpower is going to go up. So if government could help us in that regard, if power was more stable, then we won't need to run off well.
Surviving, one thing we've been doing is trying as much as possible to cut cost. For marble stitches, I try as much as possible to not increase price more than a year, like more than once in a year rather. The only time we increase price is June every year. And you know, for Nigeria at the moment, imagine the last time we increased price was last year June. It means that our profit margin reduces over the years. And so one thing that I would say helps us survive is the fact that I have to constantly be on my toes to ensure that we find a way to cut costs, because we do not want to stifle the customers, and at the same time we do not want to run at a loss. So cost cutting is one way that we've been struggling or trying to survive as a business. Also, partnerships and collaboration, it has been a way to survive, because one thing I do with the tailors that I have to meet with the deadline that we have to meet, I just allow them to do their own stuff. So if you have your shop, some of them have shut down their shop because of what is going on, so you can come and work for me, do your stuff while you also do my own stuff. That way we are working together. You're meeting my need and you're also meeting your need.
In order to survive, we've had to cut down on the number of props that we import and how often we do that. What we can get in Nigeria, we have to get. If we have to get wooden props, things that can be made here, we do that. And if it's stuff that I can do myself, I do it myself. Now I realize that it may not be practical to import baby pillows all the way from the United States, when it's something that I can literally do myself, and we've had to do that in order to cut costs. But when it comes to part, there's really no cutting that cost. You are going to have to buy fuel, whether you like it or you don't.
For a very long time we've had this in mind. We noticed that there is a section of the business population that do not relate or interact with the press. And being a PR company, we decided a strategy and a formula whereby we can actually get to these people. And so the Lagos business tour with Ideali Kingsley was born. It's supposed to happen every month, 22nd of every month. We go to different places in Lagos. We go with pressmen and we interact with some of the amazing brands in Nigeria, and I like to say even in the world. We have resilient and very creative Nigerians, and they've been they even at such a time like this, they are toughening up and doing what they ought to do. It's crazy out there. People say the economy is in a mess, is in shambles, but you do not see Nigerians hanging themselves. You do not see Nigerians crying. Instead, they dig into their bags of courage. They innovate, they reinvent, they do whatever they have to do to keep their businesses running. People would always ask, what can the government do for these people, for the small business owners? Well, if you know Nigerians, you know these days, I don't think they have that hope. The basic things they want are infrastructure. They want security. Those basic things. I don't think Nigerians are never going to ask for too much. But at the end of the day, they would be very, very, very good with a government that is not giving them policies that will break them. People say power supply has improved, but we also know what's happening with the tariff. We also know what's happening with the and it's not just everywhere. I think we still need we need the government to make good policies. We need the government to find a way to support with infrastructure, like I said, basically.
The economy is not something that anybody can explain. I won't stay here and tell you that I understand the state of Nigerian economy, but I'm hopeful. Because the reason why we're going through this in terms of the inflation, fuel problem, is that I was part of the people, from the very beginning, since 2010, who wanted subsidy to be removed. I'll be an hypocrite to not turn around and say see what is happening and then begin to complain. It's influencing a whole lot of pricing and the rest of it. But since the coming of this government, we've also had increase and improvement in power supply, which directly affects my business. I don't like the fact that I buy it for the price that I buy it. I don't like the fact that my children's school, the bus fare have gone up and a whole lot of other things. But I do believe that I pray and hope for a better Nigeria. I'm not one of those who want to jackpot. And there is always a price to pay. There is a cost to having a great nation.
It's important that we try as much as we can right now to, increase our earning power. And we should try as much as we can in this period to, settle the debts that we have, so that, because that's part of those things that can really weigh you down. Okay, so try as much as you can to live within your standard, your power this period. It's really a tough time.
There's a lot more we can do to support non-governmental organizations. Accessing funds currently is quite difficult, and when there's no fund, it's difficult to fund projects you have that would substantially contribute to the society that we are in. So I'll say to the government, reach out to non-governmental organizations that are providing human-centered, human-designed intervention, so the country can grow, the economy can grow, and everybody moves forward.
For us to be able to survive at this critical time, we have to open up to opportunity. We have to have a broad mind, and we also have to keep hope alive. When things are tough like this, the tough have to get going. As a trainer, as an insurance personality, I encourage people to start cutting their coats according to their cloth. For the government, I think they can do more by encouraging entrepreneurs. Presently, young ones graduate from school trying to get a white-collar job. You agree with me that there's no white-collar job anywhere. So if there's no white-collar job, we should learn to create a blue-collar job. How can this be possible? The government have to encourage entrepreneurship. How the young ones can teach them empowerment. People can go into small-scale business, but you have to fund them, encourage them. Those who are ready to go into small-scale business, encourage them.
To Nigerians, most especially people that are in business, is for them to just be able to work based on budgets, just be able to be more economical, in order for them to still thrive as business owners. Because the thing is that the hike in both the hike in fuel price and so many other things, because once it affects the fuel price, it affects every other things. The government, for them to be able to bring themselves down to the shoes of the masses, whatsoever decision they would want to take. We know that some of these decisions, is for us, is for our own good at maybe later, but they should be considerate in some ways. They should be able to put themselves in the shoes of the masses. Taking decisions, consider the people that are going to be affected, and know how to strategically take that decision in order for it not to affect the masses.
I think it's just a question of the leadership taking the bull by the horn. We know that things need to be set in place before they will have a smooth takeoff. And I think he wanted me to talk about the issue of subsidy. They've taken the bull by the horn, and we can only give them some time so that they will have a good footing, and we believe that maybe the proceeds will be plowed back into the economy. And as the economy bounces back, we have our local industry, the local refinery working to maximum capacity, so that we can have a balance, and there will be a kind of revamp and a resurgence in our economy.
Welcome back to the Bumper Breakfast Show on this beautiful Wednesday morning. What you just watched is a gathering of Nigerian business owners, discussing ways and means, to cope with the Nigerian economic mess. That's the package you just watched. Right now, we will be having the bumper spots, and guess who's here? Stanley Ikao. But he said to me, make sure that you mention Paul. So it's Stanley Paul Ikao. He's coming on the bumper spots. We'll take a break and he'll return, with bumper spots for you this morning.
Lagos Business 2023 with Edale Kingsley had Nigerian business owners as key speakers. The theme of the 2023 Tolle is so
All right, good morning. It's another exciting time to talk sport in the beautiful city of Lagos. Welcome to Bumper Sport Inside of the Bumper Breakfast. My name is Stanley Paul Ikao, and trust me, everywhere you turn, it's one sporting action and activity to the other. From the FIFA Women's World Cup to the CAF draws that was held yesterday, I beg your pardon, also to the newly constituted NFF and, of course, sorry, I beg your pardon, MPFL board. Where do we start from, Charity? So must begin from. Let's quickly take a quick break to see how Inter Miami defeated Atlanta United by 2-1, courtesy 2 goals from Lionel Messi, and it has just 26 goals to record, equal, and surpass all the records by Inter Miami. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Tonight, the second act of Lionel Messi as he wears the captain's armband for Inter Miami. There's a lot of talk of Messi's maturity. Diego Valeri spoke with Katie with him being a leader. It seems, Taylor, he has led from the moment he landed here.
Opening the game going forward. Great ball from
I think he's onside. Messi with Kazan off his line. Messi off the post. Puts the follow in. Of course he did. 8 minutes in. Lionel Messi gets his second for Miami. 1-0.
If you're not going to put pressure on Sergio Busquets, then you're going to get killed. Lionel Messi sliding over, staying onside, but Atlanta United cannot allow Busquets to find the space to pick up his head. We saw it Friday night. We see it here. Busquets on the ball. Messi finishes.
Miller into Allen. Allen to Messi. What a ball to Martinez. Joseph Martinez just over.
I mean, Messi's playing alongside a guy that's got over 115 goals in all competitions in Major League Soccer.
Messi driving forward, over to Robert Taylor. Taylor cutting it back. Martinez left it for Messi. Oh, my word. He has done it again. Lionel Messi, 3 goals in less than an hour of play for Inter Miami.
You can't allow Busquets to find the ball. You can't allow Messi to get into the seams. 2-3 touch passes, you're in behind, now you're into the gaps, now you're chasing the game. Look at the Atlanta United defenders chasing back to goal. Robert Taylor back to Messi, but time and time again, he pops up in the right spot at the right time.
Still on it, Kramaski, Robert Taylor. Oh, Robert Taylor, what a goal! Sensational!
After Friday night, he said, what a treat for my dad in Finland to watch every moment of every game on Apple TV. Well, how about that, Mr. Taylor?
Oh, cutting it back, giving it away. Here we go. Messi isolated with Ronald Hernandez. Almada coming back to help defend. Taylor to his left. Robert Taylor up and running. Robert Taylor off the post and in. Oh, does he love playing with Lionel Messi? Robert Taylor, second of the night. Miami 4, Atlanta 0.
Robert Taylor on his horse. One touch, clean finish. Someone check the heart rate of Robert Taylor, because he died and went to heaven, or should I say Fort Lauderdale, Florida, because Lionel Messi just showed up and put the game on a platter.
All right, welcome back. That was how Inter Miami decimated to the cleaners Atlanta United. And in case you don't know, in the MLS, teams don't relegate, teams don't promote. You play all the games like that. You die on the field of play like our national team players would always say, we want to go onto the field and die. I don't know how many of them are. The only person that died, August 12, 1989 was Samuel Sochukuma Okwanachi. Now let's leave Inter Miami and what they did to Atlanta United. Now something happened yesterday, and it's all about the CAF Champions League and Confederations Cup preliminary draws that held yesterday in Egypt. Now interestingly, Morocco will be hosting the CAF Awards later this year. Yes, Morocco will be hosting the CAF Awards later this year. But before we talk about the CAF Awards, remember Asat Oshoala is the most decorated African footballer of all time. Take it to the bank, and I'm sure you would not be thrown out of the banking hall. Now let's talk about teams that will be playing against each other in the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederations Cup. Eyimba Football Club of Aba, 9-time champions of the Nigerian Domestic League. Also, Bendel Insurance are also there. Rivers United have been drawn by. They will play in the next round. So the first preliminary round, let all those small boys go do their thing. When the big boys start coming, I think that's the stage where Rivers United will be doing their thing. Now in the first game, yes, it's going to be on the 18th, while the reverse fixture will take place on the 25th of August. And Madema, yes, the defending champion, the current champions of the Ghanaian Premier League will be hosting Remo Stars Football Club of Nigeria, not Ikene anymore, because once they get on the continent, it's no longer Remo Stars of Ikene, it's Remo Stars of Nigeria. And also, Dragons will be hosting the Bullets, the big Bullets they call them, while Al Ali Benghazi of Libya in Tripoli will be welcoming Eyimba Football Club of Aba. Otohodi Oyo will be welcoming El Merreikh of Sudan. These are two well-known clubs, but then you ask yourself, maybe because of the CAF coefficient and how these things work out, that's the reason why some of these teams will be playing in the first preliminary round of the CAF Champions League. Real Bamako of Mali will be taking on Cotton Sport of Daura, yes. And Cotton Sport of Benin Republic will be welcoming Asset Mimosa of Cote d'Ivoire. UAD Songo will be welcoming Green Mamba. I don't know what that means, but that's the name of the club. While Jabal will be welcoming Orlando Pirates as it were. Now, in the CAF Confederations Cup, it's going to be homeboys again, Al Hilal.
leg at home, and the team drawn last play the second leg at home. Something else also, the only constraint we have, we shouldn't have two teams from the same country playing against each other in the preliminary rounds. So in case we have this scenario, we will have to swap this team with the next fixtures if possible. Or if it is the last match in this region, we may swap it with the match before. So without taking too long, we are going to start now the drawing of lots. So as explained before, we are going to start with pot 1, the yellow zone. We will take two balls. The first one plays the first leg at home. The second one plays the second leg at home. And the winner will play against Wydad of Morocco in the second round. Let's go. Hafia FC of Guinea will play the first leg at home against the team that will be drawn now. Génération Foot of Senegal. And the winner of these fixtures will play against WAC in the second preliminary round. The next fixtures